Alright, I'm finally back after all of this time. I say even though part 8 was actually finished before I moved, so that one's been done. But look, it's back for me. It's been a few weeks, and we are back to Saints Row the 3rd, so let's start with some assassinations. Alright, sufficiently annoyed this guy. Look, I'm sorry. Kind of assumed that you were a prostitute based on your clothes. But I was correct, so it works for me. I was correct in my assumption, teaching me all of the worst lessons. Anyway, back to it. Oh, I guess we're getting a picture first. Right, so this time around, we're doing 3 assassinations because I figured I should probably be doing more of these at a time. We'll be on this forever if we only do 2 at a time, so yeah, I'm pretty firmly on 3 at a time this time around, so right. We got a police car, making this guy appear, back where I was before. Are you really in Ashwood, then? No, you're in Brixton right now, hey. I'm pulling you over on account of you spawning in an area you technically weren't supposed to spawn in. That's rude behavior, and you can get shot for it. And he did absolutely nothing to stop himself from getting shot to death. He complied with the law. Even though that wasn't the law, that was just me tricking him to murder him. Right, so we got... oh dear. Well, that didn't work out for me. So, I need a luchador's vehicle, so let's just piss him off real quick. And I do not care about hostages, don't know why you thought I did. So yeah, if you haven't... Pardon me? If you have not obtained a luchador's vehicle and stowed it away just yet, could people just stop running me over? Like, I'd expect that kind of behavior from the luchadors on account of, you know, being my enemy and all, but from you guys? It's like you don't like me either, what the fuck? And here's me just being like, okay, where do I go? Over there, alright. I guess I did get this, you know, a little soon, but, you know. I wanted to make sure I had the vehicle in time. So anyway, I guess while we're at it, technically speaking, I'm using the same radio station I did in the last episode, but I didn't call any attention to that whatsoever. But, yeah, this is the Cabron radio station, which I don't think had an equivalent in Saints Row 2. I don't think there was anything that was specifically like, I don't think there was any Latin stations in 2. And I especially don't know Saints Row 1's radio stations. If Cabron was in Saints Row 1, sorry, I did not, in fact, use any of those radio stations in that LP. For more, watch the Saints Row 1 LP I did.
Hey, ladies. Have you seen a picture of that man? Aye. That was Virtual Diva by Dan Omar on Cabron 104.2. And this is one of my personal favorites by Blaster Chicks. You're listening to Estella on Cabron 104.2.
So yeah, that's DJ Estelle, and she also likes the club, much like... Oh god, which one was that again? Was that... Was it Grade K-12? Future me, you fix any errors. But yeah, her other defining feature, though, is that she's very horny. It's not the only one where she's just like, ah, damn, that singer's really hot, and I'm just like, okay, sure, I'll take your word for it. I guess. I'm too gay for this. Right, so, you don't necessarily need to buy the pier for this one, but unfortunately, Today we're going to be doing Riggs vehicle thefts, and, I hate these. I well and truly hate these. So, okay, I'm not the biggest fan of the vehicle thefts in this game. I didn't like them that much in 2. So far I've liked them less than I did in Saints Row 2, but I really, truly hate Saints Row the 3rd's boat thefts. There's also plane thefts in this line of work as well, but... Okay, see right here? The game for some reason thinks I'm on the road and wants me to take this thing over land to get to the chop shop. For some reason, I don't understand why, Saints Row the 3rd is god-awful at actually telling you where to go when you're on a boat. Like, most of the time, it wanted me to take, like, a full clockwise circle, or at least, like, a half-clockwise circle around the island. For, like, every single one of these. Like, I've had to constantly check the map for these stupid vehicle thefts, and I hate them so much. Do I bring this up here? I forget if I show it off. No, I completely skip these because it's tedious. We'll see more of them later on. Because this isn't really one that's likely to kill you. It's just kind of bullshit because the game is very bad at telling you where you actually need to go. Maybe that's something they improve in the not remake, remaster. That's the specific phrase they use for things that aren't technically remakes. Not enough was done to call it a remake. Right, so, I said there were plane thefts. Technically this is a helicopter, but you get the point. Airborne vehicles are in this one. We had to steal this specific copter, but let me tell you, this is so much easier than the boat thefts, because at least the game knows where to send you. It's not going to keep constantly redrawing the goddamn map every 10 seconds. Like, no matter what direction you're going to. That's the annoying thing. Like, I'd go one direction, it would redraw and be like, okay, it's taking me this direction. And I would not realize when it redrew on me again. And it would just keep doing that to me over and over again.
Stay reggaeton. And wow, I really do love that reggae influence.
Oh, that's right, yeah, there's also reggae as well on the station.
If I didn't put a little flama in your life.
Reggae.
You're listening to Gedron 104.2.
But yeah, no, like... Again, it hopefully got fixed in the remaster, but the game just does not know what to do with you when you're in a boat. And I don't get it. It's... Also, whoops. Like, my problem with boats in Saints Row 2 was that most of the time they were pretty boring, except in that one mission where, for some reason in the console version, the game just kept fucking 360 no-scoping me with a rocket launcher. I don't know how it was so consistent in it, but it could really just kill me easily if I was on that boat in that mission, but... For the most part, I found boats kinda boring. Like, there's less to actually do when you're on a boat. And so it's just kinda dull overall. But yeah, no, same thing for this game, but if you're doing a vehicle chop shop, the game just doesn't understand water. And I don't understand what's so difficult about it. Alright, so anyway, we're buying up the neighborhood here. We kinda want to, pave the way for making our neighborhood safe. We're kinda controlling the middle section of, Steelport. It's maybe not the best idea overall. I mean, realistically, nobody's actually going to try to stop you. Like, you cannot get pincer attacked. This isn't secretly a strategy game as well. Like, technically speaking, the thing I call take-back missions aren't even take-back missions in this game. They're just, like, set, you get called on the phone, and the game just tells you where to kill people. It's not the same conceit where like, other gangs are trying to take your neighborhood back.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another round of Professor Genki's Super Ethical Reality Climax. Bobby, what can we expect in this arena today?
say, this particular arena features a lot of fire, a lot of lightning, guns, and a lot of pain.
Your favorite. In other words, a perfectly normal Professor Genki arena.
That's right, and like any other arena, our contestant can pile up a mountain of cash in a hurry.
This contestant, the leader of the Notorious Saints, has had some success in the reality climax already.
Let's see if they can handle the challenges before them today.
I'm sure I can.
The president is now in play.
Oh, cool. So, yeah, this is pretty much the same as the, other Genkis, just be fast, but not so fast that you get shot a lot. You want to be a little methodical, but I think it's definitely preferable to just take things as quickly as you can, and the moment you notice that you've reached the actual goal for the mission, just book it for the exit.
The Saints Capo is having no trouble with this arena.
Anyway though, yeah, so, I really hate vehicle thefts in this game. At some point I might just fucking do a whole video of completing them, because I don't like them in general. But the boats especially just suck. I don't like the boat thefts whatsoever. I think they're utter garbage. Oops.
I just love the smell of ozone in the arena.
Anyway, though, I guess while we're doing some side missions, I didn't really talk about the fallout of the end of Act 1, but it is pretty significant. We did kill off what seemed to be the main villain at the time. We just crushed Philip Loren to death, and that's kind of how that ended. So, Philip, as a villain, I have no problem with how things actually play out. I like that. I'm fine with him dying, but I think it's just a case of, like, consequently, I kind of think less of Morningstar overall because he dies like that, but I kind of think you're supposed to. Because, like, now that he's gone, the De Winter sisters just cannot stand up to Killbane the same way that apparently Philip Loren could. I don't know if he was just a man who demanded respect from Killbane, or maybe he just had something on him, but... yeah, no, Philip is, oh god. Oh, he's after me. Oh, large boy is active. Get me out of here. Don't know how I didn't die here. But yeah, like, I don't know what it is, but like, Killbane didn't seem like he wanted to make any moves against, Morningstar until Philip was gone. So clearly Philip either had something on him, or maybe was a decent leader at one point or another. But he sure as hell wasn't when we had to deal with him. Like, I feel a lot of his character is defined on being really cocky and then immediately getting his ass kicked. Like, he starts the game trying to play tough, and then he gets his face smashed through a window. Like, he's not particularly impressive. For the rest of his time on screen, he has to wear an eye patch because Gat just fucked him up that much. I'm surprised he didn't out-and-out die in that sequence, really. He got kinda lucky there. If anything, it does feel maybe a little insulting that, you know, Gat was killed at the behest of Philip. And then we kinda just kill him easily. But, you know, they had to write Gat out for whatever reason. Either because he has to job like he always does, or, you know, because his voice actor was busy. You know, whatever the reason at the end was, they didn't get, like, halfway through the game with Johnny. They got rid of him at the beginning, but whatever. They're clearly trying to establish Philip as a threat, and again, I don't mind that he kinda dies like a chump. I feel like that was purposeful, and I feel like it kinda works. It is kinda funny just seeing him get crushed out of nowhere. Does not get to escape. Should've moved quickly. Like, that was really his downfall in the end, is he's constantly underestimating us. With, like, absolutely no reason to, either. Like, the Saints have a reputation. They took over an entire town. Like, yeah, sure, the Syndicate took over a town, but that's 3 separate gangs. We killed 3 gangs, and then a company with its own privatized military, and he thought he could take us on. Like, Killbane at least has many rocket launchers, so he actually has some amount of force to back him up. Philip? No, he didn't. He sucks. He's garbage. So yeah, that's kind of on purpose. It does kind of make Morningstar a less imposing force, which again, I think is a little on purpose. I think now that we're in Act 2 of the game, it's very clear that, like, Morningstar's really taken a big hit from this, and now it's the Luchadors that are taking command and really taking charge. And I think that's interesting for reasons I'll get to in a second, but, like...
Time for a little brand expansion. More we keep it this, more the Morningstar gonna come at us.
That's right.
You ain't worried?
Isn't that what you had in mind?
I'll be honest. I made the plan up because we had a warehouse of Saints Row bitches t-shirts that I wanted to move.
I kinda wish the stars changed to, like, a green color at this point to actually reflect that, like, now there's more Luchadors influence. I know obviously the pink stars are, like, specifically the Syndicate's logo, but I don't know. I kinda wish they took the time to, like, make a slight alternative to the logo at the behest of Killbane and the Luchadors, you know? Just like, now that he's in charge, maybe change the color just a little bit. Or maybe, like, change the motif but keep the pink, I don't know. Just to reflect the fact that, like, power's kinda changed hands a little bit. I think that would have been neat. Not strictly necessary, but like I've said before, Morningstar had the least interesting logo of the three gangs, and the fact that it's reflected for the entirety of the Syndicate is just like, I don't know. I don't feel like you have to let Morningstar push you around that much. And you don't. Also, Pierce, you didn't need to get out of the vehicle, you're fine.
Want any help on this one? I could model the merchandise.
Nah, I got this.
Well, okay.
But yeah, that being said, while Morningstar is maybe a little weak overall, I will say, since this game's format is different, it does take away, like, the big thing that sort of gave away the plot for the first two Saints Rows. Like, those games were a little more open-ended. They let you tackle the gangs in whatever order you wanted, but, you know, for the reasons I listed in those games, it does kind of give away the plot if you know them, so if you're noticing the similarities between 1 and 2, if you actually played 1 and moved on to 2, like, you might kind of realize who's going to have something happen to them in that game. So, you know, I don't think it was an awful format or anything, but it definitely had a few weaknesses. But they changed it a bit, so now we can't deal with the gangs in the order we want to, which maybe people don't like as much. There's a little less freedom and a more structured plot. I don't mind that too much. I like the overall way the first game dealt with it. Just for most sense of it. It was actually kind of fun to be able to sort of look at the game's missions and kind of figure out, like, a cool, sensible order to play out the game's storyline. You know, in a way that made it so I wasn't playing all of them, or like all of a single gang in a row, but still kind of made sense
Is it going
tonally.
well this time?
Hell yeah. I'm picking up fans left and right.
We'll see, I guess.
What? You don't believe me?
It just seems too easy.
You think this is too easy? Alright, sure, whatever. Anyway, though, yeah, so we don't have to deal with that part of the format of the open-ended stuff, but that does let them do a few more things. Like, we were able to not introduce
I've
some
been
characters
dancing to
early
classic
on.
music since the early 90s. It was great then, and it's great now. Everybody deserves to feel sexy. So that's why I'm going to play this song by FTK. Only on Hebron 104.2.
Whatever you say, Estelle. But yeah, ironically, while you do miss out on the freedom to choose the mission order, the more linear story does theoretically give them the opportunity to be a little more surprising with the story, you know, be a little less rigid. You know, you don't have Angel only appear on the Luchador's route because he's, like, killed in that route or whatever. He could theoretically appear in other ones. Now, how much they actually use the characters and who they actually choose to kill off and keep alive, that, of course, we'll see as we go. It's still fairly early on yet.
One more, then I'll need to reload the merchandise.
I like the sound of merchandise that needs reloading.
Shit. You know what I mean?
What, you mean we can't sell
I
guns?
didn't think the Morning Star would make it so easy.
It really wasn't that easy. Please, stop taunting them. But yeah, as far as storytelling's concerned, just the format in general does allow them to do a little something different than they did in the first two games. So, things are technically less predictable. Set that guy on fire. But the format itself does have some pretty good potential. It's, you know, theoretically a little more of a surprise what might happen to characters over the course of the game. And again, we have already killed off the leader of the Morning Stars, and the other two gangs are active. So the cool thing I like about this, you know, the main thing is, this does actually address, like, the one thing I would have liked about the first two Saints Row games, and that's the fact that, in those games, the gangs never really interacted. Like, the Vice Kings and the Carnales were supposed to have a rivalry, but, you know, we never really see that reflected in the actual
So what are we hitting
game.
this time?
4 towers downtown.
This plan of yours has worked pretty well.
That's because I'm on top of this shit.
Of course, I'm the one doing all the hard work.
Hate. I feel the hate.
No, you don't. Those vehicles feel the hate on account of me shooting them. But yeah, like,
Still think I'm just a pretty face?
that is the one, like, actual problem I have with the format of Saints Row 1 and 2. Like, the freedom's nice, but I would have liked to see those gangs interact a little more. And while I have said that these gangs in this game are, you know,
Look like a tower.
my least favorite set of the, like,
refreshment.
3 gang
Make me hyper,
formats in
I
these
see how you are.
games,
This week
I
on
don't
All good
think
now.
I disagree with that assessment so far. I don't know, maybe I'll like them more than Saints Row 1 overall. I don't think they're gonna beat the Saints Row 2 gangs, though. All 3 of those were just real solid.
Today's online community lives private lives behind the keyboard. But is there such a thing as too much?
I can be who I really am online. It's a different reality. Cyberspace is the future of our way of life. I'm a pioneer to the next new world.
Nerd.
Everything is at my fingertips.
Don't you think living your life in
here we are.
Isn't
cyberspace
much of a
is
fight.
unhealthy?
I exist in meat space, but I live in cyberspace.
Nerd.
Most people spend their entire lives wallowing mediocrity because they're too afraid to rise to their destiny and accept who they are.
Think that's
I
enough?
know
Alright,
just
that's
baby.
enough nerd
Let's
talk.
keep going.
Anyway, though, yeah, so it is actually pretty cool, though, that, like, the 3 gangs exist, and admittedly, I do kind of wish this was like Saints Row 2. Like, I want to see the gangs with a rivalry, where they can theoretically, like, take shots against one another. That's not something they could have really done in the first 2 games, other than, like, one of the early missions in Saints Row 1, but even then, it didn't feel like they were fighting each other, it just felt like we were running into them one after another. Because it was just a very short mission with, you know, relatively low stakes. It just happened to have the other gangs featured in it. We kind of just ran into them when we ran into them. They were sort of fighting each other a little, I think, but yeah, it was never really what I wanted from that, but now the gangs are working together, and that's pretty cool. I appreciate that. And you know, even though they are working together, technically speaking, like, we have seen them out of each other's throats even if they are part of a syndicate.
Had a nice setup.
Told you there was a lot in that lockbox.
So, like, I don't know. Like I said, they're still my least favorite at the moment, but I'm kind of reassessing at the moment, and I'm definitely more intrigued by how they're being handled than I was the first time I played this game. I don't know. Like, sometimes I feel like I'm just a little more receptive to things when I LP it, because I'm, you know, actually sitting down and analyzing it more than I might when I'm playing it on my own. Not to say I turn my brain off for playing on my own, but, you know. I have to talk about this shit for extended periods of time. I should have, like, actual... Where are you going? That guy was just trying to escape. But yeah, I have to have extended thoughts on this, so, you know, I have to just kind of keep... That's a terrible target. Kind of just keep thinking about these things. So yeah, I guess, yeah, I think depending on how it plays out, yeah, maybe I'll like these gangs more than Saints Row 1.
I think they'd start to hang back a little.
Not if they don't want their bosses on their asses for letting me roll up on them.
Screaming into hell. And lovers become enemies.
God damn it, Canonus! I love you!
I'm sorry, my love.
Canonus!
Josh Berg stars as Nightblade.
Hey, we remember that guy. He sucked. He sucked a lot, and we hated him.
On Channel 12.
Glad he's gone forever. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to kind of seeing how the rest of this game plays out. Kinda see how I like the gangs overall. I do think they have an interesting setup now. Now that Morningstar's, you know, technically gone, or at least the original leader is, seeing them move in on each other has just made a more interesting dynamic.
We must have put a dent in their numbers.
Morningstar kind of dominates the initial portion of the game,
Always feels good.
and kind of drowns out the other two gangs in a way. And all that for the punchline of Philip or Loren just gets crushed to death immediately. But yeah, I do like that Killbane's absolutely taken charge now. He's kind of a punk-ass bitch. He's kind of an absolute fucker now that we're at this point in the game. And now we've seen Matt, and while we have heard him on commercials, or a commercial, I think it was only the one that just played, but you know, he talks a big game when he's in control and when he's doing that interview about cyberspace, but you know, the guy who just used the phrase meat space is very bad in meat space. I mean, it makes sense, he's the nerd, and Killbane is a trained wrestler who has kind of stopped caring about, you know, the wrestler bit, and is now just a ruthless killer. So, you know, got a ton of training. Definitely seems like a showman, from what little we've seen of him, but, we'll just invite a storm of rocket fire on a bridge, just because we're there, and either attending a funeral or coming back from it? I think we're coming back from it, considering we just went right to work after that happened.
That shit stinks.
I think they were just, like, opening a bridge, because, like, they were opening the bridge. I don't think that was the funeral for Johnny Gat in of itself. I don't think Monica Hughes was there to say, hell yeah, Johnny Gat was so great. I think she was just there to open a bridge named after her garbage-ass husband, who I'm glad is dead, and I'm glad that, much like the person, the bridge exploded.
I'll just order takeout.
It's a great time to go fishing for Morningstar.
You know, when you say it like that, it loses some of the appeal.
How so? I mean, yeah, sure, we say fishing, but, we are very clearly blowing people up with missiles. It's much different. But yeah, Morningstar dominates the first portion of the game, though in fairness, we did get to see the team up amongst the gangs at the start. You had Morningstar, who was spearheading it, the Luchadors, who were supposedly going to hunt us down, though they didn't really do better at that than any other gang did. And then the only real threat, like the main pressing threat, after the Morningstars already kidnapped us, yeah, it was the Deckers who just drained our bank accounts and prevented us from actively using our resources from Saints Row 2. So, you know, in terms of stuff at the start of the gang, obviously Morningstar started all of it, but after we had already started escaping by the time they did that whole thing, so, like,
Trespassing is bad.
we can't really say the Morningstar were that impressive.
It always feels good to kick
Like, they killed
ass.
off Johnny, sure, but, other than that, they were very bad at their portion of the plan. They wouldn't have needed the rest of the gangs if they had succeeded. So yeah, really, I'm only impressed with the Deckers at that point.
Okay, when I went to a literature conference in Sweden, this song was always playing in the hostel where I stayed.
Also, Cabron doesn't have that many music stations, so I kind of ran out of things to listen to.
Oh, how descriptive.
A cheap burger?
Right. Well, though we are without the rich descriptiveness so characteristic of Hemingway, perhaps truth can be found in the song Diamond Eyes.
So yeah, Cabron doesn't have that many songs, and I was using a lot of them. You know, most of them got cut out in the long run, but, you know, in the time it took me to travel, I kind of just exhausted the supply of those songs. Also, I don't know if I've mentioned the name of the radio host for Gen X in this. I think I have. In case I didn't, it's Tatiana, but, I'm not really particularly enthused with her. She's just extremely hipster and... I don't know. I haven't really heard that many good jokes in her stuff, so... I'm kinda so-so on her. I mean, she's better than DJ Veteran Child or Ultor, but that's the lowest bar you could possibly have. Don't actually know what Saints Row 1 had for Gen X. Like, apparently the DJ's name was, Paul Driscoll, but I haven't actually bothered listening to any of those since I didn't use them. Though also, at the time, those hadn't been uploaded to YouTube either, so I would have had to do that manually. Anyway though, so... I didn't actually mention, what I thought about Cabron, though. Pretty good radio station overall. I'm pretty solid on the choices of music used, for that station. You know, I like them all well enough. But, you know, as a person who does listen to a fair bit of, like, video game music, or, you know, otherwise, tracks that originate in Japan, i.e. they're in Japanese. That's probably the way most people phrase that. You know, I'm no stranger to listening to music where I don't know the lyrics whatsoever. I listen to them and I like them, and it's a bit of a shame that I can't sing along to them because I'm just thoroughly monolingual. I mean, it's not a good thing, but it is how it is, so... I can't help it, my brain is barely good at this language. Any other languages? No chance.
It's no way to fight a lady.
But yeah, good radio station, pretty solid. Also, apparently a helicopter got stuck. Probably shouldn't have let that distract me so, but whatever. Pierce is fine.
Morningstar runs this place?
Yep. Looks like they put some of their crew up in these apartments.
Oh, never have guessed.
Oh, these apartments? Which ones? Can I blow them up? I want to blow them up.
That's about all I can take right now.
No problem. We'll hit them up again later.
Oh, there's a helicopter. Alright, and I believe that's, the takeover complete for now. Right, so, what do we got for upgrades? Alright, I could make the notoriety go down, but I don't want to get that just yet. Oh hey, definitely don't want to lose out on this one. Of course, bonuses to things are some of the most important ones to get as soon as possible. As I've said before, the sooner you get them, the more useful they are. If you wait until late in the game, they really don't have much use. Like, the game caps out at 50 respect overall, so if you hit level 50, then, like, there's no more use for that ability anymore. You just don't get respect like that, so... no big deal. Technically speaking, money will also eventually become useless, but... I feel like in the meantime, you need it a lot more than respect, which is why I always aim for those abilities first. But they're kind of in the same boats. Also, yeah, finally getting dual-wield pistols. Like I said, I do not agree with making that an upgrade, considering that was just a thing you started with in Saints Row 2. It definitely is one of those situations where it feels kinda cheap that they just took it away, even though you got it for free. And like, Yeah, sure, we got thrown into jail, but that's nothing like being electrocuted and thrown against a wall. It's completely different.
Hey girl, what are you up to?
On my way to kill Pierce.
What'd he do?
He's throwing a fucking party. Can you believe that shit?
Sadly, yes. Have you asked him why?
He probably wants to get some tits shoved in his face.
I'm sure he has a better reason. How about...
Fuck his reason. It's not right. Not after Johnny's funeral.
Alright. Let me talk to him. Promise me you won't do anything until I get to the crib.
Fine. Whatever.
After you get there, however, I'm immediately killing him. Okay, so you do want to do this mission sooner rather than later, because otherwise it doesn't make much sense. I guess it doesn't matter that much, but, you know. From a storytelling standpoint, we should do this now.
Johnny's dead and you're throwing a fucking party?
Well, when you say it like that, sure it sounds bad.
I was saddled up in a human pony show. Will you see me crying about a little girl?
I swear to God, I will shove that thing down your throat hole.
Whoa, Shandi. We can't mourn Gat forever. Eventually, you gotta get back on the horse. No offense, brother.
He's right.
Whatever.
Damn, girl! Life is for the living and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, that's so pretty, it's silly. All over the street, damn, yeah, I get busy. On the dance floor, I'm too witty. Get close, get low, yeah, get busy. I'm a raise in the place. Grind, get low, move side to side. I'm a raise in the place. Grind, get low, move
What's up, girl?
Get low, move side to side. I'm a raise in the place. Grind, get low, move side to side.
Oh shit! These hoes ain't hoes!
What's happening?
Seriously, fuck this party!
Hey, can we worry about the crazy bitches with guns?
So anyway, hey, you like those missions where you get attacked in your own HQ? I mean, you probably do, they're usually pretty fun. So we have used this penthouse for a different mission before, but hey, now we're the ones actually in charge here, so it hits different. Right, so, I do really like the chaos of this initially. It is probably pretty easy to tell the difference between your gang and the titular Trojan horrors. I mean, first off, they're on the map, they're the red dots, and we have a whole lot of purple dots. And also, if you've set up your own gang and, you know, changed their looks, you should know what you're actually using. And, like, these aren't actual models you can use for the gang in the first place. I think there are skimpy gang members you can use, but those aren't really the ones I went for, so... for me, it's particularly easy to tell them apart. Maybe it's a little harder if you put everybody in bikinis.
Thanks, boss.
Pierce, you ordered the wrong hose here!
Don't look at me. This is all disease like pussy.
Here's a tip. This ain't love. This group sucks. I thought this was your party.
This ain't on me, baby. I like looking at the goods when I have company. You know what I'm saying?
They must have cut it.
That's just great.
Aw, man. It does definitely feel like things have turned around on us, you know?
Sniper.
Like before, we were the ones invading the party and just shooting everybody to death, but now they're getting in and they're cutting the power. Like, damn. This is actually a very easy to invade location. Also, they're snipers as well. Damn, they've got a good setup. Don't know how you made it into that other building. Like, does it make sense for the strippers to make it into here? Yes, because we were expecting some amount of strippers, though. I am very disappointed in Zemos. You'd think he'd know his own crew. But the other buildings, I don't know, were they expecting strippers too? I mean, this is Saints Row, so... honestly, it's entirely possible that whatever that building's for, they were also expecting strippers. This is Steelport. Somebody's going to be horny at any given point. Look, there are statues that are just scantily clad women. Didn't actually notice that till this episode and didn't draw any attention to it, but I did definitely see a butt on one of those statues.
That shit's downstairs, after you.
Alright, back to you and you. So I will say this is another fairly simple mission. Though, the previous main mission did have us kind of going back and forth and wherever. There was a lot of traveling and short bursts of killing. I like that this one is just like a more straightforward, single location that's a little more intense.
Can't you call back later, Oleg?
You have to cancel the party. It's a trap.
I picked up on that.
So it's over? I should have known a few helicopters wouldn't stop you.
There weren't any helicopters.
Da-da-da-da-da-da. Okay, that's pretty good. I do like that joke. Just like... Oh good, you took care of the helicopters. The fucking what? Alright, so... time for rocket launcher. Cause, yeah, now they're just trying to blow up the penthouse with helicopters. Thank goodness this isn't Red Faction, because otherwise this penthouse would be gone. If you could destroy this terrain, it would not be here anymore. Alright, so let's just clear out the helicopters. This is pretty much the finale of this mission. So while it is a simple mission, and, you know, we're just in one place killing enemies, it is very frantic, and does have you take on a fair few different things. We've had regular enemies, we've had snipers, and now we have helicopters, so... it's a very short but sweet mission, you know? A lot of stuff just kind of crammed into, again, a set piece we've been to before, but now they've kind of flipped it around, so we're defending instead of attacking. Also, I have unlimited ammo for the missile launcher. Like, why didn't I just blow that lady up? I could have done that. It would have been fun. And it's as illegal as anything else I'm doing. If anything, it's less illegal than most of what I do.
Hooker assassins?
They came highly recommended.
Ladies, it was a pretty shit plan.
Tell me something, Matt. Did you have a plan? How about you, Eddie? There's a reason Philippe left the thinking to us. We're done here.
Kilbane! Relax. You only need one of them. Viola, your sun is setting, but it's not too late. There's still time to grab Apollo's chariot and drive that fucker back across the sky. You feel me?
Yes, Kilbane.
Apology accepted. Hey, I'll comp you a VIP pass to Murder Brawl. That'll cheer you up.
Okay, so like I said, given the format of this game, they can more readily kill characters. So yeah, now one of the De Winters is just dead because she called Kilbane the wrong name. He does not like being called Eddie, and between that and being insulted for other things, just, yeah, straight up murdered one of the De Winter sisters, so we probably won't see the fallout of that next time, but I'm sure we'll remember it. But yeah, now that the party is over, next time, I guess we have to hang out with Zemos, unfortunately.
All my honeys in the place, grind, get low, move side to side. All my honeys in the place, grind, get low, move side to side. All my honeys in the place, grind, get low, move side to side. All my honeys in the place, grind, get low, move side to side. It's kicking off in London town. Me and my crew gonna see what's going.